शेषाद्यपुंशकलयशोधरिपूर्णचन्द्रम् श्रीमन्नृसिंहगुरुवरजगदाब्जभृङ्गम् श्रीमन्ननन्तगुरुवर्यसुतम् गुणाब्धिम् सम्पत्कुमारगुरुवर्यमहम् प्रपद्ये। वसुदे वसुदम् देवम् कंसिताडूरवर्धनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णम् वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। गीताम् सगीता कर्तव्या किमन्यैः शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृता. Today's subject matter of discussion is the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It has 20 shlokas and 5 topics. The chapter opens with a question by Arjuna. He asks, between the devotees who thus think of you as their supreme object of attainment and meditate on you by way of bhakti, and those who meditate on the unmanifested and imperishable reality, who are better? So, whether Paramatma Yogi is better or Svatma Yogi is better, that is the requirement. Now, with these two clarifications, we may proceed to study the chapter in the life of the commentary. The answer is crisply stated immediately. Paramatma Yogi is better equipped for self-realization and God-realization. Those whose minds are fixed on God, see Krishna as their end, who seek abiding union with Him, and who possess supreme and eager faith, are the best. But those who meditate on the imperishable principle, which is indescribable, imperceptible, all-pervasive, inconceivable, universal, being undifferentiated by bodily determinations, unchanging and eternal, and that by controlling their senses, thinking of all beings as equal, engaged in the with the all, also attain Him. So, Akshara Brahma Yoga or Paramatma Yoga, these are the two words used for the 7 to 12 chapters and first to 6 chapters respectively. Meaning, Jivatma Yoga is about self-realization explained in chapter 1 to 6. Paramatma Yoga is Bhakti Yoga prescribed for God realization with self-realization as the basis to commence with. Now, among these two, which is better to follow? That is the question of Arjuna. Now, the devotees of the unmanifested have greater hardships to undergo. Is Sakshara Brahmatma Yogi or Atma Yogi have greater hardships to undergo, for the embodied beings find the ideal of the unmanifested extremely difficult to attain. The condition of the devotees of the Lord is decidedly superior. Those who surrender all their actions to God, seek Him as their supreme end, and practice meditation on Him with supreme love, looking upon His worship as itself the end. God Himself will rescue them soon from the world of bondage, which is death itself, as it obstructs the individual's attainment of God. Tesham aham samardhata mrityu samsara sagarat. That is the statement that is explained. For this reason, the Krishna exhorts Arjuna. Therefore, meditate on me as I am the supreme goal and I am attainable easily and quickly. Meditate on me as the supreme object of your spiritual endeavor. Immediately after fix your mind on me as the supreme object, you will find yourself living in me. So, in the previous chapter, Bhakti is taught as the sublime means to God realization. Now, in this chapter, Sri Krishna extols Bhakti Yoga as far UPS ட்ரிப்பா இருந்துதான், அதுக்கோசம் மத்தியத்தில் டிஸ்கனெக்ட் ஆயிடுத்து. பிரேமநாத்,
அடியேன் சுவாமி. சுவாமி இன்னும்
UPS
ரெக்கார்டிங் சுவாமி.
we are still continuing.
ஆமா, ரெக்கார்டிங்ல தான் இருக்கு. ஆமா, பட் இஃப் யூ ரிமெம்பர் வேர் யூ லெஃப்ட்னோ சுவாமி, அங்க இருந்தே நீங்க கண்டினியூ பண்ணுங்க. நான் எடிட் பண்ணிடுறேன். என்னால எடிட் பண்ண முடியும் சுவாமி. இன்னைக்கே பண்ணி அடியேன்.
ஓகே, சரி. So இப்போ இட்ஸ் கண்டினியூங்.
ஆமாங்க சுவாமி. இன்னும் அது வந்து ரெக்கார்டிங்ல தான் இருக்கு சுவாமி. நம்ம பேசுறது கூட ரெக்கார்ட் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு.
சரி, ஆமா, ஸ்டாப். Therefore, the unlimited glory of Sriman Narayana, the supreme Brahman, and the ultimate goal of all Bhakti yogins, was revealed to Arjuna by the Lord, the version of auspicious attributes like Karunya, Audarya, Saushalya, etc. He showed it to Arjuna as it is. Further, it was shown that knowledge about him, vision and his attainment could be achieved by single-minded and complete devotion to him. Chapter 12 will highlight comparative benefits of meditation, that is upasana, on the Lord, and the meditation on the self. The former is spoken of as superior, being easily and fast to achieve the end result. Meditation on the self, known as Aksharapath, is meant to be for one who is not capable of undertaking meditation on the Lord and the requirement thereof. The latter holds superiority arising out of the object of meditation. The Lord has already spoken of such superiority in the text. Of all yogins, the one who devoutly worships with his mind focused on me is considered by me to be the best yogi. The fundamental answers to Arjuna's question is furnished in this declaration, which is also an exhortation containing heartening assurance. If such a concentration of mind is not possible for you in a steady manner, practice loving remembrance of my perfections and then gain steady concentration of mind on me through that loving remembrance of me. Through that concentration, seek to attain me. If you find yourself incapable of even that remembrance, engage yourself in acts of worship of me with great love. Through such worship, you will gain the capacity for remembrance, and through the remembrance, you will gain the required concentration by which you will reach me. If that worship also is beyond you, then practice Karma Yoga, involving the renunciation of the fruits of actions, which will lead you to self realization, which in turn makes you fit for bhakti. The hierarchy of means advocated here is noted clearly. The highest bhakti effectuates immediately God realization through the grace of God. If that is found difficult, abhyasa is in the sense of frequent contemplation of God's perfections, is to practice as a means to bhakti. If the abhyasa is also found difficult, loving worship in the sense of acts of adoration is prescribed as a means to the abhyasa. If such worship is also beyond the aspirant, he is advised to adopt karma yoga as a means to realization of the intrinsic nature of the individual self. That realization will make him fit for progressive cultivation of bhakti. The incapacity for bhakti is rooted in the ignorance of the real nature of the self. If that obstacle is removed, through Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, the way for the origin and development of bhakti is clear. The individual is then irresistibly drawn into the full tide of the fervent love of God. The remembrance of God when there is no love towards Him is very difficult, and therefore the knowledge of the self by way of immediate intuition is superior to it from the point of view of effective practice. But this knowledge is itself no easy achievement. When it is difficult of achievement, the contemplation of the essential nature of the self is better, again from the point of view of practice. When that contemplation is not established and is itself hard, it means, namely, Karma Yoga is better for a practice. Karma Yoga creates the right state of mind for contemplation by the removal of impurities born of sins. In that state of mind, contemplation of the self is easy. That contemplation leads to the realization of the self's essential nature. Such self realization inducts the aspirant into the process of bhakti. Thus, for those who are incompetent for bhakti, self knowledge is better. And for those who are incompetent for self knowledge, the pathway of karma is better. From the point of view of the competence of the aspirant, these various steps have been evaluated in this fashion, and nothing is said here that would take away the highest position of value accorded to bhakti. There is possible objection to this statement here. The devotee of God is placed above the devotee of the imperishable on the ground that his way is easier and quicker in yielding its results. Now, the contemplation of the imperishable is recommended in case of the devotion to God is found difficult. Are not both the ways pronounced more difficult and easier at the same time? But we are to understand that bhakti is better for one who can practice it, and for him to adopt the other way is to choose the longer and more arduous road while he is competent to take the shorter and easier one. The lower steps are praised as better for one who is spiritually backward and not advanced in inner life as required for the practice of bhakti. While the exaltation of bhakti is in relation to those who are worthy of it, the praise of the other instrumental levels of spiritual endeavor is in relation to those who are unhappily less advanced. The course of the commentary elucidates the whole position with all the needed clarity. From the 13th verse to the 19th, the matter dealt with according to Ramanuja consists of the characteristics that an ideal karma yogin ought to cultivate. Meaning, verses 13 to 19 narrates 33 characteristics to be developed to become a perfect karma yogi. The karma yogi does not hate even those who injure him. He thinks of them in the spirit of friendship. When they are in distress, he is compassionate towards them. He has no attachment to anything. He is free from the identification of the body with the soul. He is free from worldly exaltations and depressions and endures serenely the adverse circumstances of life. He is easily satisfied with whatever he can get as a means of subsistence. He always reflects upon the nature of the self as transcending matter. He controls his mental functions. He has a firm conviction in the affirmations of the scriptures dealing with the self. His mind and will are wholly surrendered to me. He thinks of me as the sole object of worship and as the sole fulfiller of the spiritual destiny of the worshippers. He who thus worships me through Karma Yoga is dear to me. He who does not, who does nothing injurious to the world, with reverence to whom the world does nothing injurious, seeing that he hates none, and who is free from worldly exaltation, intolerance, fear, and feeling of being injured, is dear to me. He who desires nothing other than the self in its purity, who is pure, competent in acts of righteousness, who is indifferent to all else, who is not perturbed by pains and adversities overtaking him, while he is engaged in the fulfillment of his duties, and who avoids all enterprise other than what is demanded by the call of righteousness. Such a devotee is dear to me. He who does not rejoice on getting what the world values, does not grieve in circumstances which the world regards as a calamity, does not desire anything that the worldly seek, and renounces merit also calculated to be instrumental to worldly advantages, as he does demerit leading to disadvantages, such a devotee is dear to me. That devotee who is free from all agitations of mind in the company of enemies and friends is onerous, and humiliation in the grip of dualities like pains and pleasures, heat and cold, who is detached, is the same when praised and abused, who is calmly silent, pleased with whatever he can obtain, has no abode of his own, but is steadily contemplating the self, is dear to me. While so far we have on this interpretation the description of the ideal Karma Yogin. The next concluding verse is devoted to the delineation of the Bhakti Yoga proper, meaning 33 characteristics are told of a Karma Yogi. He is most liked by me. Bhaktiman me yo priyo naraha. But last shloka. They who fully practice the Bhakti Yoga, as described here, it is a means that is equal in value and the experiential quality of joy to the end itself, who are inspired by eager faith and who are devoted to me as the supreme end, are extremely dear to me. Ativa me priya. A few words may be said in justification of applying the earlier description of the Bhakta to the Karma Yogin, and in taking the concluding verse as giving the estimatic the bhakta proper, estimated bhakta proper. Earlier description just follows immediately after the prescription of Karma Yoga, and the bhakta of the last verse is distinguished from the bhakta spoken of before by the expression tu, but, and he is said to be most dear to God. That the last verse is given to the praise of the highest bhakta is unmistakable. The initial connection with Karma Yoga and the assignment to the highest status to the devotee, indicated in the culminating verse, renders the intermediate description from the 13th to 19th verse applicable only to the Karma Yogin, who is also a Bhakta in some measure. The justification is very effectively brought out in the discussions of the text. The chapter sums up the climax of the teaching developed in the Gita so far. It is a fitting culmination of the doctrine of the way, which starts with Karma Yoga, progresses through Jnana Yoga, and attains its consummation in Bhakti Yoga. So, to sum up, beyond this, the pious virtues that should adorn the devotee are summarized as follows. He who is free from malice towards all beings, who is friendly and compassionate, gives no room for egoism and has overcome I and mine, takes pleasure and pain alike, is contented, who meditates on the self and supreme, has subdued mind, body, and senses, has firm belief in the Vedas, has surrendered his mind and intellect to the Lord, treats friends and foes, honor and ignominy, praise and reproach alike. That man with devotion is dear to him. These are the ways to get promoted to bhakti. Thus concludes the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Asmangurusamarambham Yatishekaramadhyamam Lakshmi Vallabharigantam Vande Guruparamparam.